Today I'm going to make some simple oatmeal cookies, and I'm making them from I'm just following this recipe exactly from this Better Homes cookbook that was, I think, my grandma's. This was written back in like 1989. Nothing special. These are just simple oatmeal cookies, but a friend of mine asked me to make them for her, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to start by creaming a 3/4 of a cup of butter. And then this recipe calls for 1 3/4 cups of flour, but once the butter is creamed, I'm going to add half of the flour. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of white sugar, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon or so of vanilla, you know I don't measure, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And then optional, but I strongly recommend, is half a teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Just mix that all together. I also thought I would do a little research on the history of oatmeal cookies. This is kind of interesting. Once all that is creamed together, you're going to add in the remainder of your flour and then 2 cups of rolled oats. Anyways, oatmeal cookies originated in Scotland in the 1800s, where the Scottish people used to use oats in various baked goods like oat cakes, which were sort of like oatmeal cookies. And then the first written oatmeal cookie recipe was written in the United States in the late 1800s when a woman named Fanny Farmer published a recipe in 1896. And then they got even more popular when Quaker started publishing the recipe on their packaging in the early 1900s. After the dough comes together, I'm going to chill it for 15 minutes in its dough balls, and then I'm going to bake these at 375 for about 10 to 12 minutes. And they're so simple and so delicious. You can add, of course, chocolate chips or raisins, but I think a simple oatmeal cookie never lets you down. Give these a try, subscribe and follow for more. Enjoy!